Settle yourself into a comfortable position now. There is no need to close your eyes just yet. Instead, simply let your gaze soften. Let the tension in your jaw and shoulders loosen, dropping away like a heavy cloak you no longer need to wear. Watch the shadows lengthen on the screen, letting the visuals guide you into a state of quiet focus. The noise of the world outside is fading, retreating into a distant hum, until there is nothing left but the rhythm of your own breathing and the sound of my voice. Tonight, we are traveling back 700 years to a time of stone and silence. We are drifting into the life of a medieval princess, but not the fairy tale you might expect. This is a story of quiet endurance, of the deep, biting cold of a castle winter, and the heavy, comforting weight of duty. It is a world where time moves at the speed of a burning candle. Before we drift further into the slow current of the past, if you find a sense of peace in this sanctuary we are building, please gently leave a like and subscribe to the channel, so that we may meet again in the historical dreams that lie ahead. And if you wish, whisper in the comments where you are drifting off from tonight. It is comforting to know we are drifting together. Now, imagine that the air around you is cooling. It is not an uncomfortable cold, but a crisp, clean chill that sharpens the senses and makes the warmth of your bed feel even more precious. You are waking up, but you are not in your own room. You are lying in a vast chamber made of grey stone, situated deep in the heart of a castle in 13th century England. It is early morning, the hour before dawn, the time the monks call matins. The room is steeped in a thick, velvety darkness, a darkness so profound that it feels like a physical presence, wrapping around the 4 heavy wooden posts of your bed. You are lying under a mountain of furs. There are heavy sheepskins, smelling faintly of lanolin and earth. There are wool blankets, woven tight and thick to keep out the drafts that snake through the castle walls. And on top, a coverlet of deep crimson velvet, lined with rabbit fur, heavy and soft. The sheer weight of the bedding presses down on you, anchoring you to the mattress. It is a feeling of immense security, of being buried in warmth while the world outside freezes. The mattress beneath you is not soft foam, but a thick linen sack filled with fresh straw and dried lavender flowers. If you move even slightly, the straw rustles beneath you. A dry, whispering sound that speaks of the summer fields and the harvest long past. The air in the room is freezing. You can feel it nipping at the tip of your nose, brushing against your cheeks like a cold feather. It is a damp, stone-cold air that has seeped through the 10-foot thick walls over centuries. It smells of old granite, of the soot from the fireplace, and the faint, musky scent of beeswax candles that have burned down to nothing. It is the breath of the castle itself, slow, austere, and patient. Listen closely. The room is not entirely silent. From the far corner, you hear a sound. A scritch, scratch, click. It is the sound of the fire being tended. Your lady in waiting, Alice, is awake. She moves like a shadow in the gloom, her wool dress rustling softly against the rushes on the floor. You cannot see her clearly, only the silhouette of her figure against the faint, dying orange glow of the embers from the night before. She is kneeling by the hearth, her breath visible in the cold air. She blows gently on the coals. Whoosh, whoosh. The sound is soft, rhythmic, like the breathing of the room. She adds a log of dry oak, seasoned for 3 years. You hear the wood settle onto the grate with a dull, heavy thud. Then the crackle begins. Snop, pop, hiss. The fire begins to catch, sending small sparks drifting up the dark chimney like golden fireflies. The light in the room changes. It shifts from absolute black to a flickering, dancing amber. The shadows on the rough stone walls begin to move, stretching and shrinking in time with the rising flames. You watch the light play across the heavy tapestries that hang from the ceiling to the floor. They are woven with scenes of forests and hunts, green leaves and brown stags. And in the firelight, the trees seem to sway. The animals seem to breathe. The tapestries are not just decoration, they are insulation. A second skin for the cold stone walls, trapping a thin layer of air to keep the chamber bearable. Alice stands up, dusting the ash from her hands. She approaches your bed. Her footsteps are muffled by the rushes, dried reeds and fragrant herbs like meadowsweet and rosemary, scattered across the stone floor to provide warmth. Step, crunch, step, crunch. It is a quiet, domestic rhythm. She pulls back the heavy velvet curtains of your bed, the metal rings sliding on the rod with a soft, singing sound. Morning, my lady. She whispers. Her voice is low, respectful, barely breaking the silence of the dawn. She holds a basin of warm water, heated over the fire in the anteroom. Steam rises from it, curling into the cold air, carrying the scent of rose petals. You sit up. The movement requires effort against the heavy furs. As your shoulders emerge from the warmth of the bed, the cold air kisses your skin, waking you up instantly, making you shiver. But it is a bracing shiver, a reminder that you are alive, that a new day has been granted. You swing your legs over the edge of the high bed. Your feet touch the floor. Even through the thick layer of rushes, you can feel the chill of the stone slabs beneath. It is a grounding sensation. It connects you to the earth, to the foundation of this fortress. Now begins the ritual of dressing. In this time, dressing is not a quick act of pulling on clothes. It is a ceremony. It is the construction of an identity. You stand shivering slightly by the fire, letting the warmth radiate onto your skin, while Alice brings your garments. First, the chemise, a long shift made of fine white linen, bleached by the sun. It is cool against your skin, sliding down over your head, settling around your ankles. It smells of soapwort and the lavender sachets used in the laundry chests. It is the layer of purity, hidden from the world. Next, the kirtle, a dress of soft, dove-grey wool. It is heavy and substantial. Alice helps you step into it. She stands behind you, pulling the laces tight. Toque, Pause, Toque, Pause. You feel the fabric tightening around your waist, supporting your back, holding you upright. It is a sensation of being held, of being contained. The wool is scratchy but warm, trapping your body heat. Then, the surcoat. This is the outer layer, the display of your rank to the world. It is made of deep crimson velvet, the colour of blood and power, lined with soft squirrel fur. It is incredibly heavy. As Alice lowers it over your head, you feel the weight of your station settling onto your shoulders. It is a physical weight, a protective shell against the elements and the eyes of the court. Your hair must be attended to. You sit on a wooden stool near the fire, absorbing the heat. Alice takes a comb made of polished bone. She runs it through your long hair, starting at the ends and working up. Stroke, stroke, stroke. The sensation is hypnotic. The comb scrapes gently against your scalp, sending shivers of relaxation down your neck. She takes her time, detangling every knot, and she braids your hair quickly. Her fingers deft and practiced, weaving the strands together into two tight, neat plaits. She coils them against your head and covers them with a linen veil, pinning it in place with gold pins. The veil frames your face, narrowing your vision. Turning your focus inward, you are now hidden. You are now proper. You are now a princess. It is time for morning prayers. You leave the sanctuary of your bedroom. The door creaks open on heavy iron hinges, a sound that echoes in the stone archway. You step out into the corridor, here, away from the fire. It is Ava Calder. The air is raw and biting. Your breath mists in front of you, a small white cloud that vanishes in an instant. The corridor is dimly lit by rushlight's reeds dipped in animal fat that burn with a smoky, sputtering flame. They cast long, wavering shadows that dance on the uneven stone walls, making the castle feel like a living, breathing beast. You walk toward the chapel. Your leather slippers with their soft soles make a quiet scuffing sound on the stone. Scuff, scoof, scoof. You are not alone. You hear other footsteps echoing in the distance. Ghostly sounds in the gloom. The household is waking up, but no one speaks. The morning is a time for silence, a time to prepare the soul for the day. You pass a window, a narrow slit in the thick wall, unglazed, open to the weather. You glance out. The world outside is grey. A thick mist hangs over the castle courtyard, obscuring the ground. The towers loom out of the fog like stone giants, wet with condensation. It is a world without colour, a world of shapes and shadows and moisture. You reach the chapel doors. They are made of dark, ancient oak, carved with scenes of saints and angels, their faces worn smooth by time. You push them open and enter. The chapel is a cavern of golden light. Hundreds of beeswax candles are burning, their flames standing tall and still in the breathless air. The scent is overpowering, a heavy, sweet mix of melting wax, frankincense, and the damp, earthy smell of the stone crypts below. It is a holy smell, a smell that has permeated these walls for generations, soaking into the mortar. You walk to your place near the front, separated from the common servants. You kneel on a velvet cushion embroidered with gold thread. The fabric is worn smooth by the knees of the women who came before you. Your mother, your grandmother, all the women who knelt here and prayed for husbands, for song, for survival. You clasp your hands. The stone floor radiates cold through the cushion, chilling your knees. but the air above is warm from the heat of the candles. The priest begins the Mass. He does not speak to you. He faces the altar, his back to the room, his vestments heavy with gold embroidery. He speaks in Latin, the language of God, the language of eternity. In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. The words are low and monotonic, a drone that vibrates in the chest. You do not need to understand every word to feel their power. It is a rhythm, a chant, a river of sound that flows over you, washing away the dreams of the night. Close your eyes in your mind. Listen to the drone of the priest's voice. It rises and falls like a gentle wave on a distant shore. It is boring. Yes, but in a way that is deeply soothing. It demands nothing of you. You do not need to think. You do not need to make decisions. You do not need to be charming or clever. You only need to be here, kneeling in the candlelight, letting the ancient words wash over you, around you. You hear the subtle sounds of the congregation, the rustle of heavy fabric as others kneel, the suppressed cough of a servant in the back, the clink of a censer being swung, the chain hitting the metal bowl, the sound of the bell ringing, ding, ding, ding. These are the sounds of community, of a shared existence within these stone walls. You are part of a structure that is larger than yourself. You are a single thread in a vast tapestry of duty and faith and order. The prayer continues. Time seems to stretch and slow down. There is no clock ticking here. There is only the burning of the candles. Measuring the minutes in drops of wax. Drop. Wool. Drop. Drop. You watch a single flame flickering near the altar. It dances, elongates, shrinks, turns blue at the base, but never goes out. It is mesmerizing. Your mind empties. The worries about your future, about the marriage to the French prince, about the journey across the sea, they feel very far away right now. In this moment, there is only the stone, the cold, the warmth of your velvet gown, and the drone of the Latin prayer. You are safe here. You are held by the traditions of centuries. The castle walls are 10 feet thick. Nothing can hurt you. The cold cannot reach your heart. You are a princess of the winter, wrapped in furs and silence, waiting for the sun to rise over the battlements. The Amen is sung, a long, low note that hangs in the air before fading into the absolute silence of the stone. The morning prayers have ended, dissolving into the echoes of the stone chapel. You have eaten your breakfast, a piece of dense, dark bread that tastes of rye and molasses, and a cup of watered wine that warms your stomach in the great hall, surrounded by the low murmur of the household. Now the day shifts. The large communal spaces are left behind. You retreat to the solar, the private room reserved for the ladies of the castle. It is a smaller room, located high in one of the round towers, designed to catch whatever meager sunlight the English winter provides. You enter the room. It is quieter here, removed from the bustle of the kitchen and the noise of the stables below. The air is still cool, but a large fire burns in the hearth, casting a steady, comforting heat into the room. The stone walls are covered in wool hangings to keep the heat in. You walk to your place by the window. The window is not glass. It is a sheet of scraped parchment, oiled to let the light through but keep the wind out. It turns the grey daylight outside into a soft, diffused yellow glow inside. It is like being inside a lantern. The light is gentle on the eyes, perfect for the work you are about to do. Your embroidery frame stands waiting for you. It is made of polished oak, smooth to the touch, darkened by the oils of many hands. A piece of fine white linen is stretched tight across it, taut as a drum skin. If you tap it with your finger, it makes a dull, satisfying thrumming sound. Thrum, thrum. This is your world for the next 4 hours. This rectangle of fabric, this is your battlefield, your garden, your kingdom. You sit down on a wooden stool. You arrange your heavy skirts around you, creating a nest of wool and velvet to keep your legs warm. You pick up your needle. It is a small silver sliver, cold and sharp. You pick up a length of silk thread. It is dyed a deep, rich crimson, the color of a king's robe, imported all the way from the east. It slides through your fingers like water, smooth and frictionless. You bring the thread to the needle. The eye is tiny, but your hands are young and steady. You push the silk through. You tie a knot at the end. Now begins the rhythm. The needle goes down through the fabric. Pop. A tiny sound of resistance as the metal pierces the linen. You pull the thread through from underneath. Swish. The soft sound of silk against linen. Then you push the needle back up from below, finding the exact spot by instinct. Pop and pull. Swish. Pop, swish. Pop, swish. Let your mind settle into this rhythm. It is the heartbeat of your afternoon. You are embroidering a rose, a heraldic rose. It requires absolute precision. Each stitch must be exactly the same length. Each stitch must lie flat against the one before it, creating a surface of pure color. There is no room for error, but there is also no need for speed. You have all the time in the world. The only goal is perfection. Focus on the red thread. Watch it disappear into the white cloth and reappear. Loop after loop, slowly filling in the shape of the petal. It is a slow accumulation of color. It is like painting with a thread. The repetitive motion is hypnotic. Your hand knows what to do without your mind telling it. Down, up, down, up. Your breathing slows to match the stitching. Inhale on the up stitch. Exhale on the down stitch. In the corner of the room, near the fire, sits Brother Thomas. He is an old monk from the local abbey, sent to tutor you in the arts of household management. He is dressed in a rough brown robe that smells of dust and old parchment. He is reading aloud from a heavy, leather-bound book. His voice is dry and dusty, devoid of emotion. It drones on and on, like a bee trapped in a jar on a summer day. He is talking about grain stores, about how many bushels of wheat are needed to feed a garrison of 50 men for a winter. Item, he says, his voice flat, for the bread, 300 bushels. Item, for the ale, 200 bushels. Item, for the horses, 100 bushels of oats. His voice is not annoying. It is a background texture, like the sound of rain on the roof or the wind in the chimney. It washes over you. You do not need to memorize every number right now. You just need to let the information settle into the back of your mind. You are learning the language of logistics, the mathematics of survival. A princess must know how to feed her people. But right now, it just sounds like a lullaby of numbers. Item, 50 barrels of salted herring. Item, 12 wheels of hard cheese. Item, 20 jars of honey. You look back at your needle. The rose is growing. A second petal is forming. The red is vibrant against the pale background. You switch threads. Now you need gold for the center of the flower. The gold thread is actually metal, spun incredibly thin and wrapped around a core of yellow silk. It is stiffer than the red thread. It catches the light from the parchment window and sparkles. It is harder to pull through the fabric. It makes a rasping sound. A rasp, swish, a rasp, swish. As you stitch, your mind begins to drift. You are not really in the tower room anymore. You are floating on the current of the work. You think about the silkworms that made this thread, spinning their cocoons far away in the east, in a land of sun and spice that you will never see. You think about the hands that dyed it crimson, stained red by the berries or the insects used for the color. You think about the miners who dug the gold from the earth, deep in the dark mines. All of that effort, all of that distance, converging here, in your hands, to make a single flower on a piece of cloth. The room is silent except for the fire crackling snap, hiss, and Brother Thomas's monotonous voice. Your ladies in waiting are here too, sitting on cushions on the floor near the hearth. They are also sewing, mending shirts or weaving belts. Sometimes they whisper to each other, a soft sibilance, like the rustling of dry leaves. Did you see? Oosh. Pass the scissors. Their voices are woven into the atmosphere of peace. There is a sense of shared industry, of women working together in the quiet semi-darkness, bound by the needle and the thread. You feel a cramp in your shoulder. You pause. You stretch your neck. Crack. A small release of tension. You look out the window. The light is changing. The yellow glow of the parchment is deepening to orange. The afternoon is wearing on. The sun is sinking behind the high castle walls. The shadows in the corners of the room are getting longer, reaching out toward you like dark fingers. The firelight is becoming brighter as the daylight fades. Brother Thomas stops reading. He marks his place with a strip of leather. The silence that follows is thick and heavy. He closes his book with a soft thump. Dust motes dancing in the shaft of light seem to freeze for a moment. Enough for today, he says. His voice sounds surprisingly loud in the quiet room. You have listened well, my child. You put down your needle. You stick it into a small velvet cushion filled with sand to keep it sharp and rust-free. You look at your work. The rose is half finished. It is beautiful. It is perfect. It glimmers in the firelight. It is a testament to your patience, a physical record of the hours you have spent sitting still. You run your finger over the raised stitches. They feel rough and textured compared to the smooth linen. You feel a sense of deep resignation, but it is a peaceful resignation. This is your life. This room, this needle, this voice. You are a princess. Yes, but you are also a prisoner of your station. Your body is here, confined to the solar, but your mind is free to wander in the silence. You have no decisions to make. Your path is laid out before you like the pattern drawn in charcoal on the cloth. You just have to follow the lines. You just have to fill in the colors. You do not have to draw the picture yourself. There is a comfort in that lack of agency. You do not have to worry about the wars your father is fighting on the borders. You do not have to worry about the harvest or the plague. You only have to worry about the next stitch, the next tiny, manageable action. Alice comes over to you. She gently covers the embroidery frame with a linen cloth to protect it from the dust and the smoke. Rest your eyes. My lady, she whispers, placing a hand on your shoulder. You have worked long. You stand up. Your legs are stiff from sitting so long on the hard stool. You walk to the fire and hold out your hands. The heat is intense on your palms. You watch the flames licking at the logs, consuming the wood. They are hypnotic, ever-changing, yet always the same. You feel the warmth soaking into your heavy wool dress, traveling through the layers to your skin, melting the chill of the afternoon. The day is fading. The castle is settling down for the evening. The light outside is turning blue and grey. The world is closing in, becoming smaller. Safar. Warmer. You have survived another day of lessons. You have added another fraction of beauty to the world with your needle. You take a deep breath. The air smells of wood smoke and the lavender from the floor rushes. It is the scent of home. It is the scent of endurance. You are ready for the evening meal. You are ready to drift further down the river of time. The needle is still. The book is closed. The tower room is waiting for the night. You are calm. You are steady. You are ready to rest. The needle has been put away. The lessons are over. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and the castle has surrendered to the night. You leave the solar, your legs heavy and stiff from hours of sitting, and begin the long descent down the winding stone stairs. You are moving toward the heart of the castle, toward the great hall. The air in the stairwell is cold, smelling of damp stone and old torches. But as you descend, a new warmth begins to rise to meet you. It is a warmth composed of firelight, bodies, and the rich, heavy scent of roasting meat. You reach the bottom of the stairs and stand before the heavy oak doors of the great hall. They are thrown open. A wave of sound and heat washes over you. It is not a jarring noise. It is a low, continuous roar, like the sound of the ocean trapped inside a cave. It is the sound of 300 people eating, talking, and breathing together. It is the sound of the household at rest. You enter the hall. It is a cavernous space, the ceiling lost in the shadows high above, where the smoke from the central hearth gathers among the rafters. The room is lit by dozens of torches set in iron sconces on the walls. The flames flicker and dance, casting long, wavering shadows that stretch across the floor. The light is amber, soft, and forgiving. It makes the stone walls glow with a warm golden hue. The floor is covered in fresh rushes, thick and green, mixed with sweet-smelling herbs, meadowsweet, marjoram, and basil. As people walk, they crush the herbs, releasing a fragrance that battles with the smoke and the smell of food. Step, crush, step, crush. The scent is earthy and grounding. You walk to the high table, set on a raised dais at the far end of the hall. This is your place. Above the salt, above the noise. You take your seat beside your mother. The chair is high-backed, carved from dark wood, cushioned with velvet. You sink into it. The wood is hard against your spine, forcing you to sit upright, but the velvet is soft. The meal begins. It is a slow, ritualistic procession of food, Servants move silently through the hall, carrying heavy silver platters. The steam rising from the dishes catches the torchlight. First comes the pottage, a thick, savoury stew of onions, leeks, and oats. It is hot and comforting. You dip your spoon into the bowl. The steam warms your face. You take a sip. It tastes of the earth, of roots that have grown deep in the soil. It warms your chest, spreading a heavy, pleasant lethargy through your limbs. Then comes the meat, roasted venison, dark and rich capons stewed in almond milk and saffron. The smell is intoxicating, a mix of gamey meat and exotic spices brought from the edge of the world. Cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg. These are the scents of wealth, heavy and sweet. You eat slowly. In this world, eating is not just fueling the body. It is a performance of manners. You break the bread with small, precise movements. You wipe your fingers on the linen cloth. You sip the wine, spiced with hypocras, feeling its heat travel down your throat. Look out over the hall, below the dais. Long trestle tables are filled with knights, squires, servants, and guests. They are a blur of colour and movement in the smoky light. You see the flash of a red tunic, the glint of a gold chain, the white of a linen coif. Their voices merge into a single hypnotic hum. It is a white noise that wraps around you, insulating you. You do not need to listen to their words. You only need to hear the rhythm of their existence. It is a comforting sound, the sound of a hive that is safe and well fed. Your father, the king, sits in the center of the table. He is a large man, broad-shouldered and bearded. He is eating with a knife, carving a piece of beef with steady, powerful hands. He stops. He wipes his mouth. He turns to you. The movement is slow. Deliberate. The noise at the high table seems to dampen slightly. Daughter, he says. His voice is a low rumble, like distant thunder rolling through the stone floor. It is not an angry voice. It is the voice of a mountain speaking to a pebble. You lower your spoon. You turn to face him. Yes, Father, a messenger arrived today. He says. He reaches for his goblet, his heavy rings clinking against the metal. From France, from King Louis. France. The word hangs in the air between you, heavy and pregnant with meaning. France is the other world, the world across the water, the world of silk and wine and enemies that become friends and then enemies again. He proposes a match. Your father continues. He is not looking at you now. He is looking into the depths of his wine, swirling the red liquid. His son, Prince Philip, it is a good alliance. It secures the southern ports. It secures the wool trade. He speaks of trade routes and ports, of treaties and borders. He does not speak of love. He does not speak of happiness. He speaks of the architecture of the kingdom. And you are a brick in that wall. You will be betrothed next month. He says you will leave for Paris in the spring. There is no question in his voice. There is no space for refusal. It is a statement of fact, as unchangeable as the rising of the sun or the coming of winter. You sit very still. The noise of the hall seems to fade away, becoming a distant buzzing in your ears. France, spring, marriage, Philip, the words drop into your mind like stones into a deep well. Plop, 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 ripples spreading out, touching the edges of your life. You look at your mother. She's staring straight ahead. Her face, a mask of perfect, courtly composure. She knows, she has always known, this was the destiny written in your blood from the moment you were born. She reaches out, her hand covering yours on the table. Her skin is cool and dry. She gives your hand a single, firm squeeze. It is a message. Be strong. Be silent. Accept. You look back at your father. Yes, Father. You say, your voice is quiet, steady. It does not tremble. You are a princess. You know your role. The conversation turns away from you. The king begins to speak to the bishop about taxes. The moment has passed. Your fate has been sealed between a bite of venison and a sip of wine. But inside you, something shifts. A heavy weight settles in your stomach. It is not fear. Exactly. It is the weight of inevitability. The future has suddenly solidified. Before this moment, your future was a mist, a vague shape of someday. No, it is a road, it is a map, it has a name. Philip, you look down at your plate. The food has gone cold. You push it away. You watch the fire in the central hearth. It is a massive blaze. Logs the size of men burning down to white ash. The smoke rises in a straight column, disappearing into the dark throat of the chimney. You feel a kinship with the smoke. You, too, are being directed. You, too, are drifting upward and away, carried by forces you cannot control. The feast continues. The musicians begin to play in the gallery above. A lieu, a flute, a small drum. The melody is slow and melancholic. A tune that winds round the pillars of the hall. It weaves through the conversation, softening the edges of the noise. You let the music wash over you. You let it carry you away from the table, away from the news, away from the fear. You close your eyes for a second. In the darkness behind your lids, you try to imagine France. You picture tall towers of white stone. You picture sunlight that is warmer than English sun. You picture a face you have never seen, Philip. Is he kind? Is he cruel? Is he old? Is he young? The image is blank. A canvas waiting for paint. You open your eyes. The hall is blurring slightly. The heat, the wine, the heaviness of the news, it is making you drowsy. The adrenaline of the announcement has faded, leaving behind a deep physical exhaustion. You feel the weight of your velvet surcoat pulling you down. You feel the hardness of a chair. You want to lie down. You want to sleep. The meal ends. The king stands up. The scraping of benches against the stone floor is a loud, grating sound. Everyone stands. The ceremony of the evening is over. You follow your mother out of the hall. You walk back up the stairs. The air gets colder as you climb, leaving the warmth of the fire behind. The shadows get longer. You are moving back into the silence of the stone. You reach your chamber. Alice is there, waiting. She sees your face. She knows. Servants always know before the masters do. The news has already travelled through the castle like a draught of cold air. She does not speak. She simply begins to unlace your gown. She takes the heavy velvet from your shoulders. She takes the weight away. You stand in your white linen shift, shivering slightly in the cool air. She helps you into bed. She piles the furs on top of you. You lie in the dark. The fire in your room is just a bed of glowing coals now, looking like a sleeping dragon's eye. You listen to the wind outside the window. It is howling around the tower, a lonely, wild sound. France, the word echoes in your mind. France, it feels far away. It feels like a dream. But tonight, you are safe. Tonight, you are still here, in your own bed, in your own castle. The walls are thick. The door is barred. The future can wait until morning. You let your body sink into the straw mattress. You let your muscles relax. On by on, your toes, your legs, your hands, your shoulders. You let go of the tension. You let go of the fear. You surrender to the dark. You surrender to the flow of history. You are a leaf on a river. The current is taking you where you need to go. There is no point in swimming against it. You just have to float. Float, float. The silence of the room fills your ears. It is a heavy, velvet silence. It presses against your eardrums, blocking out the world. You breathe in the smell of lavender and smoke. You breathe out the worry. Sleep comes slowly, like a tide rising. It washes over your feet, your knees, your chest. It covers you. It holds you. You are safe. You are warm. You are sleeping. The long, dark winter begins to loosen its grip on the castle. The days grow imperceptibly longer, stretching out the twilight. The sun, when it appears, has a new strength, a pale warmth that melts the frost on the window panes by noon. The sound of the wind changes. It is no longer the shrieking gale of January, but a blustery, restless breeze that smells of wet earth and distant rain. Spring is coming, and with the spring, the departure. You are walking in the castle garden. It is a small, enclosed space, protected by high stone walls that trap the heat of the sun. It is the sanctuary of life in a world of stone. The ground is soft and muddy, yielding under your leather shoes. A squish, step, a squish, step. The mud is rich and dark, smelling of potential. Look at the beds. The gardeners have been at work. The earth has been turned, broken up, raked, smooth. Green shoots are pushing up through the soil. Tiny, curled fists of ferns, spears of crocuses, purple and yellow, standing brave against the grey sky. The buds on the apple trees are swelling, tight knots of pink and white waiting to burst. You walk slowly along the gravel path. The air is cool and damp, filled with the scent of rain that has just fallen and rain that is about to fall. It is a clean, washing scent. You breathe it in deeply. It clears your head. It wakes up your blood. You stop by a rosemary bush. You reach out and brush your hand against the needle-like leaves. They are stiff and oily. You bring your hand to your face and inhale. The smell is sharp. Pinay, medicinal. It is the smell of memory. You want to remember this garden. You want to remember the exact shade of grey of the English sky. You want to pack this smell into your chest and carry it with you across the sea. You are not alone in the garden. Walking beside you is a stranger, a woman. She is tall and elegant, dressed in clothes that seem too light, too colourful for this northern climate. Her name is Lady Isabel. She has come from France. She has come to prepare you. Lady Isabel does not walk. She glides. Her steps are small and precise. She holds her skirts with one hand, lifting them just enough to avoid the mud. She turns to you. Her face is pale and composed. Her eyes dark and intelligent. Head up. Princess, she says. Her voice is different from the voices you are used to. It is not the flat, broad vowel sounds of English. It is liquid. It is musical. It flows like water over stones. She speaks English, but she accents it with the softness of the South. In France, we look the world in the eye. We do not look at our feet. You lift your chin. You look at her. Better, she says. She smiles. A small, guarded curving of the lips. Now, let us practice the greeting. When you meet the king, my cousin, you will not kneel. You are a daughter of England. You will curtsy, but you will keep your back straight, like a tree in the wind. You bend, but you do not break. She demonstrates. She sinks down, her back perfectly vertical, her head high, her skirts belling out around her like a flower opening. It is a movement of immense control and grace. It looks effortless, but when you try to copy it, your thighs burn. You wobble. Again, she says softly, slowly. It is not a race. It is a dance. You try again. Down, hold, up. The motion requires balance. It requires focus. It forces you to be completely present in your body. You cannot think about the future or the past. You can only think about your muscles, your breath, your center of gravity. Again, you spend the hour walking and bowing in the damp garden. The birds are singing in the apple trees, a chaotic, joyful chorus that mocks your serious efforts. But Lady Isabel is patient. She corrects the placement of your hand. She adjusts the angle of your head. She is sculpting you. She is smoothing away the rough edges of the English girl and revealing the French princess underneath. She teaches you the language, not the Latin of the church, but the French of the court, the language of poets and lovers. Say it with me. She whispers, le printemps, asterisk, the spring, l'amour, love, la mer, asterisk, the sea. The words feel strange in your mouth. They are soft, rounded, breathless. They require you to shape your lips differently. To speak them is to become someone else. The lesson ends. Lady Isabel bows to you, a deep, graceful bow you are trying to master, and leaves you. You stand alone in the garden for a moment. The wind rustles the ivy on the walls. Deal. You feel a strange sensation. You feel as if you are expanding. You are growing larger than the castle, larger than the island. You are becoming a creature of two worlds. Later that afternoon, you are summoned to your mother's private chamber. This is a rare event. Your mother, the Queen, is a distant figure, a woman of duty and silence. You enter her room. It is warmer than the rest of the castle, heated by a large brazier filled with glowing charcoal. The air is thick with the scent of dried rose petals and expensive spices. Your mother is sitting by the window, reading a book of hours. She looks up as you enter. Her face is unreadable, as always, but her eyes are soft. Come here, she says. You walk to her. You kneel on the cushion beside her chair. She reaches out and touches your cheek. Her hand is cool and dry. She traces the line of your jaw, as if she is memorizing your face. You are leaving soon. She says, it is not a question. Yes, Mother, France is far. She says, the sea is wide. She pauses. The silence stretches out, filled with the things she cannot say. She cannot say that she will miss you. She cannot say that she is afraid for you. Queens do not speak of fear. She reaches into the folds of her gown. She pulls out a small object wrapped in a scrap of silk. She unwraps it slowly, revealing a ring. It is gold, heavy and old. Set into the band is a single, large ruby, dark as a drop of blood. This was my mother's, she says, and her mother's before her. It came from Spain, across the mountains. It has travelled far. It has seen many courts. It has survived many winters. She takes your hand. She slides the ring onto your finger. It is loose, but it fits. The metal is warm from her body heat. It feels heavy on your hand, a physical weight of history. It is a compass. She whispers, not for the north, but for yourself. When you are in a strange land, when you speak a strange tongue, when you lie in a strange bed, touch this ring. Remember who you are. Remember where you came from. You are not just a wife. You are not just a treaty. You are a line of blood that stretches back to the Caesars. You are iron wrapped in velvet. You look at the ring. The ruby catches the light from the window, glowing with a deep, inner fire. It looks like a burning coal that never goes out. You close your hand around it. You can feel the pulse of the stone against your palm. Thank you. Mother, you whisper. She leans forward and kisses your forehead. Her lips are dry. It is a benediction. Go now, she says. Prepare yourself. The wind is changing. You leave her room. You walk back to your own chamber. The ring feels heavy on your hand. An anchor keeping you grounded as the world begins to spin. That night, you lie in bed. The window is open a crack, letting in the cool spring air. You can smell the wet earth of the garden. You can smell the salt of the sea, carried on the wind from miles away. It is calling to you. You hold your hand up in the darkness. You cannot see the ring, but you can feel it. You turn it round and round on your finger. Twist, twist, twist. It is a nervous habit, but also a comforting one. The gold is smooth. The stone is hard. It is real. You think about Lady Isabel's lessons. La mer asterisk. The sea, you think about the journey ahead. The ship, the waves, the new land. It is terrifying. Yes, but it is also exhilarating. The winter is over. The frozen time of your childhood is melting. The river is breaking free. You are no longer the girl who sat by the fire and embroidered roses. You are a woman who wears a ring of blood and gold. You are a woman who speaks the language of the enemy. You are a woman who is ready to walk out of the gate and board the ship. You listen to the rhythm of your own heart. Thump, 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 thump. It is steady. It is strong. It is the drumbeat of your own life, marching forward. The castle sleeps around you. The stones are silent. The fire has burned down. But you are awake. You are watching the shadows on the ceiling. You are waiting for the dawn, waiting for the day when you will leave the stone behind and step onto the water. Drift now. Let the anticipation fade into a gentle hum. Let the image of the garden, the green shoots, the wet earth, the white blossoms fill your mind. You are a seed that has been planted. You have rested in the dark all winter. Now it is time to grow. Sleep, gather your strength. The journey is long, but you are ready. The ring is on your finger. The map is in your blood. You are safe. You are held. You are drifting into the spring. The day of departure arrives, not with a fanfare of trumpets, but with the quiet, shuffling sound of leather boots on stone. The castle is waking up earlier than usual. The stars are still pinned to the black velvet of the sky, cold and distant, watching the courtyard below. You are standing by the window of your chamber for the last time. You run your hand over the rough, cold stone of the sill. You are memorizing the texture. You are saying goodbye to the walls that have held you safe since you were a child. Alice is packing the last of your trunks. The sound of the heavy wooden lid closing is final. The latch clicks into place. Your life here is finished. It has been folded up, wrapped in linen, and placed in a box. You are ready to be moved. You walk down the stairs. The air is cold and smells of horses and morning mist. In the courtyard, the procession is assembling. It is a confusion of shapes in the torchlight. Breath steams from the nostrils of the horses, rising in white plumes that vanish into the dark. The horses stamp their hooves. Clop, crunch, they shift their weight, their leather harnesses creaking softly. The metal bits jingle. It is the music of travel. You do not ride a horse today. You are placed inside a litter, a wooden carriage suspended between two gentle mares. It is painted with the crest of your father. Gold lions on a red field, but inside it is a cocoon of grey wool. You climb in. Alice climbs in beside you. The door is shut. You are enclosed. You are cut off from the world outside. The command is given. Forward. The litter jerks slightly, then settles into a swaying rhythm. Rock, sway, rock, sway. It is a gentle side-to-side motion, like a cradle being pushed by an invisible hand. You hear the wheels of the baggage carts behind you begin to turn. Rumble, rumble, the sound of iron rims on cobblestones, then the softer, muffled sound of wheels on packed earth as you pass through the castle gates and onto the road. You lean back against the cushions. You cannot see the castle fading behind you. You can only feel the distance growing. Every turn of the wheel adds a measure of space between you and your past. You close your eyes and listen to the rhythm of the journey. The steady beat of the horses' hooves, the creak of the wood, the whisper of the wind against the curtains of the litter. The journey to the coast takes days, days of rhythmic motion, days of watching the light change through the crack in the curtains. In the morning, the light is pale and blue. By noon, it is yellow and warm, heating the interior of the carriage until you feel drowsy and heavy. By late afternoon, it is long and golden, slanting across your lap, and then the twilight comes, purple and grey, bringing the silence of the evening. You stop at abbeys along the way. Safe? Stone harbours in the night. You sleep in guest cells that smell of beeswax and dried herbs. You hear the chanting of monks in the distance. A low, drone-like sound that weaves into your dreams. But you do not unpack. You are a transient spirit. You are just passing through. Finally, the smell of the air changes. It no longer smells of wet earth and pine forests. It begins to smell sharp, briny, clean. It is the smell of salt. It is the smell of the sea. You have reached the coast. You step out of the litter. The wind here is stronger. It pulls at your veil, tastes of iodine on your lips. Before you lies the English Channel. It is a vast, heaving expanse of grey-green water, restless and alive. It stretches out to the horizon, merging with the grey sky. The ship awaits. It is a cog, a sturdy, round-bottomed vessel built of dark oak. It bobs in the harbour, rubbing against the wooden dock. A creak, a bump, creak, bump. It looks small against the vastness of the water. It looks fragile, but the sailors move with confidence. They are hauling ropes, loading your trunks. They are singing a low, rhythmic song to coordinate their movements. Heave, ho, heave, ho. You walk up the gangplank. The wood is slippery with sea spray. You step onto the deck. The ship feels alive beneath your feet. It shifts and breathes with the water. You are led to a small cabin at the stern. It is tiny, smelling intensely of tar, hemp, rope, and old wood. There is a narrow bunk built into the wall, filled with a straw mattress. You lie down. Alice sits on a stool nearby. The ship casts off. You hear the heavy splash of the mooring ropes hitting the water. You feel the change in motion. The gentle bobbing of the harbour gives way to the long, slow roll of the open sea. Up and down, up and down. It is a hypnotic, overwhelming sensation. The ship climbs the face of a swell, hangs for a weightless moment at the top, and then slides down the other side. It creates a feeling of suspension in your stomach. It is not unpleasant. If you surrender to it, if you fight it, you will be sick. But if you let your body go limp, if you let yourself become liquid like the ocean, it rocks you, it lulls you. Close your eyes. Listen to the voice of the ship. The timber groans as it flexes. It is a deep, wooden complaint. Ir-ur, ur-ur. The rigging whistles in the wind. A high, thin note, and beneath it all, the endless wash of the water against the hull. Swish, slap, hiss, swish. Slap, hiss. It is a wall of white noise. It drowns out your thoughts. You cannot worry about the French court when the ocean is so loud. You cannot worry about Prince Philip when the waves are so demanding. The sea takes up all the space in your mind. It erases the land. It erases the past. There is only this eternal present of water and motion. Time loses its meaning on the water. Hours bleed into one another. The light in the cabin shifts from the bright grey of noon to the dim grey of dusk. You drift in and out of a light doze. You dream of green fields that roll like waves. You dream of waves that turn into stone walls. Alice brings you a cup of ginger tea to settle your stomach. The steam warms your face. You sip it slowly. It is spicy and hot. It grounds you. Night falls over the channel. The cabin grows dark. You can hear the sailors moving on the deck above your head. Their footsteps are heavy thuds. You hear the creak of the rudder as the helmsman corrects the course. You are sailing into the void. You are a tiny speck of wood and life in a universe of dark water. But you are safe. The ship knows the way. The stars are wheeling overhead, guiding you. You are held in the hand of the ocean. Imagine the water beneath you, miles deep, cold and silent. Great fish swimming in the dark. Ancient wrecks resting on the sand. It is a world of absolute mystery, and you are floating on the surface of it, light as a leaf. The rolling motion becomes a part of your heartbeat. Up, down, in, out. Your breath sinks with the swell. You feel heavy. Your limbs feel like they are made of lead. You sink deeper into the straw mattress. The wool blanket is scratchy against your chin, but it is warm. You think of the ring your mother gave you. You touch it in the dark. The ruby feels cold. It is the only hard thing in a fluid world. It is your anchor. You twist it round and round. Sometime in the deep hours of the night, the rhythm changes. The roll becomes less pronounced. The wind dies down. The sound of the waves softens to a gentle lapping. We are entering the estuary. Alice whispers from the darkness, we are in the river now. The Seine, the river of France. You have left the wild ocean and entered the veins of your new country. The water here is calmer. It flows with a steady, powerful purpose. The ship glides forward, carried by the incoming tide. You drift back into sleep, a deep, dreamless sleep born of exhaustion and the cessation of motion. When you wake, the ship has stopped. There is no movement, only a gentle vibration. Light is streaming through the cracks in the cabin door. It is a different light, warmer, softer. It is the light of France. You hear new sounds, voices calling out from the shore. They are speaking a different language. The vowels are rounder, the consonants softer. It is a musical, flowing tongue. Attrapez la corde, doucement, voilà. You step out onto the deck. The air smells different here. It does not smell of salt and sheep. It smells of river mud, rich and fertile. It smells of wood smoke from poplars, distinct from the oak smoke of England. It smells of baking bread and ripening fruit. You are in a harbour, but it is not a grey stone harbour. It is a river port lined with willow trees that trail their green branches in the water. The buildings on the shore are made of pale stone that glows in the morning sun. They look lighter, more elegant than the heavy fortresses of home. A gangplank is lowered. It connects the ship to the land with a solid thud. This is the moment, the physical transition. You lift your skirt. You take a step. Your foot leaves the wood of the English ship and touches the stone of the French soil. You stand there for a moment, letting the ground settle beneath you. The phantom motion of the sea still sways in your inner ear, making you feel unsteady. But the earth is solid. You have arrived. A carriage awaits you. It is finer than the English litter. It is painted blue, with gold lilies, the fleur-de-lis stenciled on the doors. The horses are white, their manes braided with blue ribbons. It looks like a carriage from a storybook. You climb in. The seats are upholstered in velvet. There are glass windows, real glass, that allow you to see out while keeping the dust away. You sit down. The journey continues. But the texture has changed. You are no longer leaving home. You are approaching destiny. The carriage rolls forward. The wheels hum on the paved road. You watch the French countryside roll by. It is beautiful. Fields of lavender making purple stripes on the hills. Vineyards stretching out in precise geometric rows. Villages with red-tiled roofs that look like scattered autumn leaves. The sun is warm on the glass. You feel a strange sense of calm. The fear of the crossing is gone. The fear of the unknown is fading, replaced by a quiet curiosity. You are a survivor of the sea. You have crossed the boundary. You are here. The rhythm of the carriage wheels is a steady, reassuring drone. It whispers to you, asterisk, you are safe. You are safe. You are safe. Lean your head back against the velvet squabs. Close your eyes. Let the golden light of the French afternoon filter through your eyelids. Feel the gentle vibration of the road. Let yourself drift. The sea is behind you. The stone is behind you. Before you lies the garden. Before you lies the city of light. Rest in this space between arrival and meeting. Rest in the quiet of the carriage. You have traveled far. Your body is tired. Let the motion rock you. Let the warmth hold you. You are floating toward the center of the story. The carriage slows. The rhythmic hum of the wheels on the country road changes to a deeper, more resonant clatter. You are rolling over cobblestones, large, smooth stones that have been polished by centuries of traffic. You open your eyes. Through the glass window, you see walls rising up, high, white walls of limestone that seem to glow with an inner light. You are entering Paris. It is not like London, which is dark and huddled and smells of coal. Paris is open to the sky. The streets are wider. The buildings are taller, reaching up with pointed arches and slender spires that seem to defy gravity. It is a city of stone lace. The carriage crosses a bridge. You look down. The river Seine flows beneath you. Wide and green and slow, it reflects the sky and the stone bridges. It is the mirror of the city. You see barges laden with wine barrels, drifting lazily downstream. You see washerwomen on the banks. Their white linens spread out on the grass like patches of snow. It is a scene of peaceful industry. The noise of the city is different too. It is not a roar. It is a murmur, a sophisticated, multi-layered hum of conversation, of church bells ringing in different keys, of wheels turning. It sounds like a choir tuning their instruments. The carriage passes under a great archway and enters the courtyard of the palace, the Louvre. It is a fortress. Yes, with towers and battlements, but it is also a palace. The stone is carved with vines and gargoyles. Banners of blue silk snap in the wind. The courtyard is filled with people, but they do not shout. They move with purpose and grace. They are dressed in colors you have never seen before: saffron, emerald, cerulean. They look like a garden of exotic flowers. The carriage stops. The door is opened by a footman in livery. You step out. The air smells of expensive things, of roasting peacocks, of spiced wine, of perfumes made from ambergris and musk. It smells of power that is comfortable with itself. You are led up a wide staircase. The steps are shallow, designed for easy walking in heavy robes. You are surrounded by your English ladies, Alice and the others. They look wide-eyed and nervous, clinging to their cloaks, but you straighten your back. You remember your mother's ring. You remember the lessons in the garden. You are iron-wrapped in velvet. You enter the great hall of the Louvre. It is a space of breathtaking verticality. The ceiling vaults high above, painted blue with gold stars to resemble the night sky. Shafts of colored light stream in through the stained glass windows, ruby, sapphire, gold painting, pools of color on the stone floor. It feels like walking inside a jewel box. At the far end of the hall, on a raised dais, the court is assembled. You walk toward them. Your footsteps echo softly. Step, step, step. You feel hundreds of eyes on you, but you do not look down. You look ahead, and there he is. You have feared this moment for months. You have imagined a monster. You have imagined a tyrant. You have imagined an old man with cold eyes. But the man standing before you is none of these things. Prince Philip stands next to his father, the king. He is young, perhaps only a few years older than you. He is slender, not built like a warrior, but like a reed. He wears a tunic of blue velvet, simple but cut with exquisite precision. He does not have a sword at his hip. He holds a book. He looks up as you approach. His face is pale, his features fine and sharp. He has the look of someone who spends more time indoors than out. But his eyes are kind. They are a soft, intelligent grey. They meet yours with a look of curiosity and gentle assessment. There is no aggression in him. There is no demand. You reach the dais. You sink into the deep, straight-backed curtsy that Lady Isabel taught you. You hold it. Your muscles tremble slightly, but you do not waver. Rise, princess. A voice says, it is not the booming voice of a king. It is a soft tenor voice. Philip, you stand. He steps forward. He does not grab you. He does not claim you. He extends a hand, palm up, inviting you. It is a gesture of partnership, not possession. You place your hand in his. His skin is cool and dry. His fingers are long and slender, with ink stains on the tips. The ink stains of a scholar. Welcome to Paris. He says in French. His accent is poor and crisp. I hope the journey was not too harsh. The sea was rough, my lord. You reply, your voice steady, but the land is gentle. He smiles. It is a small, shy smile that lights up his eyes. Yes, he says, France is gentle. We try to be. The ceremony of welcome continues. Speeches are made. Gifts are exchanged. But the tension has gone out of the air. The monster is not a monster. He's a boy with ink on his fingers. A boy who looks as overwhelmed by the ceremony as you are. After the formalities, Philip turns to you. Would you walk with me, he asks. The court is loud. I find it tiring. You nod. I would like that. He leads you away from the great hall, away from the staring eyes. He leads you down a quiet corridor, then up a winding staircase. You climb higher and higher. The noise of the court fades away below you. The air grows cooler and quieter. He stops before a heavy wooden door bound in iron. He takes a key from his belt, a large, complex key of brass. He unlocks the door. The mechanism turns with a heavy, satisfying clunk. He pushes the door open. This, he says, is my sanctuary. You step inside and you gasp. It is a library, but not just a library. It is a cathedral of books. The walls are lined from floor to ceiling with shelves of dark wood, and on the shelves are hundreds, perhaps thousands, of manuscripts. They are bound in leather red, green, brown with gold lettering on the spines. Scrolls are stacked in honeycomb cubbyholes. The room smells of dust and old paper and drying ink. It smells of leather and wax polish. It is the most beautiful smell in the world. It is the smell of knowledge. It is the smell of 1,000 voices waiting to speak to you. Large windows look out over the city of Paris. You can see the rooftops, the river, the smoke rising from the chimneys. But up here, you are above it all. You are in a cloud of silence. Philip watches you. He is anxious. You realize he is sharing his treasure with you, and he is afraid you will not understand. It is much, he says apologetically. My father says, I spend too much on parchment. You walk to the nearest shelf. You reach out and touch the spine of a book. The leather is cool and smooth. It is magnificent. You whisper. You turn to him. Do you read them all? You try. He says, this one? He pulls a volume from the shelf. He opens it carefully. The pages are vellum, creamy and thick. The text is illuminated with intricate vines and tiny dragons painted in blue and gold. This is Aristotle. He writes about the nature of the soul. He begins to read. He translates the Greek into French for you as he goes. His voice changes when he reads. It becomes stronger, more confident. He is in his element. He is sharing his passion. You listen. You look at his face. Illuminated by the dusty afternoon light, you realize that this is not a marriage of war. This is not a marriage of conquest. This is a marriage of minds. This stranger, this foreigner, he is a kindred spirit. He is a seeker of quiet, just like you. He stops reading. He looks at you. Do you read? He asks. English. You say, and Latin, and some French. I will teach you. He says, we will read together. In the evenings, when the court is finished with its dancing and its gossip, we will come here. The promise hangs in the air. It is a promise of intimacy, not the intimacy of the body, which is terrifying and strange, but the intimacy of the mind, the intimacy of shared silence. You feel a knot in your chest loosen, a knot you didn't even know was there. You are not just a womb to bear heirs. You are a mind to be engaged. You are a companion. I would like that very much. You say. He closes the book. He places it back on the shelf with reverence. Call me, he says. I will show you the view from the balcony. You walk together to the window. You step out onto a small stone balcony. The wind is fresh up here. Below you, Paris is spread out like a map. The bells of Notre Dame begin to ring for vespers. Bong, bong, bong. The sound is deep and resonant, vibrating through the stone of the tower. You stand beside your husband. You do not touch, but you are close. You watch the sun setting over the river, turning the water to liquid gold. You watch the swallows diving and swooping in the evening air. You are far from England. You are far from your mother. But standing here, high above the world, surrounded by books and the sound of bells, you do not feel lost. You feel found. This is your new home. this quiet tower, this city of light, this gentle stranger with the ink-stained fingers. You take a deep breath, you fill your lungs with the air of Paris. It tastes of smoke and river, water and stone. It tastes of the future. The sun dips below the horizon. The sky turns violet. The first star appears. Philip looks at it. Vesper, he says, the evening star. It is the star of rest. Yes, you say, it is beautiful. He turns to you. We should go down. The feast awaits. But we can come back tomorrow and the day after. Yes, you say, we will come back. You leave the balcony. You walk back through the library. The shadows have gathered in the corners, soft and protective. The books seem to be sleeping, their covers closed like eyelids. You walk out of the door. Philip locks it with the heavy brass key. Click, clunk. He hangs the key on his belt. You walk down the winding stairs together, down into the noise, down into the duty, but you carry the silence of the library with you. You carry it like a secret shield. You are ready for the court now. You are ready for the staring eyes, because you know where the sanctuary is, and you know you are not alone. The stone steps are cool under your feet. The torches are being lit in the corridors below. The castle is waking up for the night, but your heart is calm. Your heart is quiet. You are descending into the story, but you are holding the pen. Drift on this feeling of relief. The monster was a myth. The stranger is a friend. The cage has a door, and the door leads to a room full of books. You are safe. You are understood. You are home. The sun has finally set over Paris. The long, golden twilight of the French spring has deepened into a rich velvet violet, and finally into the absolute black of night. The feast is over. The last notes of the lutes and the drums have faded into the stone walls, leaving behind a ringing silence that feels heavy and sweet. The guests have departed, their torches disappearing down the winding streets along the Seine like a river of drifting fireflies. The castle is settling into the deep, heavy rhythm of the night. It is time for the final ritual. It is time for the wedding night. But do not be afraid. In this story, there is no fear. There is only the soft, golden light of beeswax candles and the hushed intimacy of a room that has been prepared with immense care. You are escorted to the royal bedchamber. It is not the cold, draughty room of your childhood in England. It is a chamber designed for comfort, lined with tapestries so thick they muffle every sound from the world outside. The rough stone walls are hidden behind layers of wool and silk, creating a cocoon of warmth that wraps around you like a second skin. Your ladies are with you, Alice. Margaret and the French attendants, they move quietly, their voices lowered to whispers, their movements slow and reverent. They help you out of the heavy ceremonial gown. You feel the physical weight lifting from your shoulders, the stiff brocade that held you upright, the heavy jewels that pressed against your skin, the tight laces that restricted your breath one by one. They are removed. You take a deep breath, your ribs expanding freely for the first time all day. You are dressed in a night shift of the finest linen, soft as a cloud against your skin, embroidered with tiny white flowers at the hem and cuffs. It smells of lavender and fresh air. They unpin your hair. It falls down your back in a heavy wave, releasing the tension at your scalp. Alice brushes it one last time. Stroke, stroke, stroke. The rhythm is soothing, like the petting of a cat. She braids it loosely for sleep, tying the end with a ribbon of blue silk. She smiles at you in the mirror. It is a smile of reassurance, a silent message that says, "Times, you are safe. You are ready." The ladies withdraw. They curtsy and back out of the room, closing the heavy oak door with a soft, solid thud. The latch clicks into place. Click. The sound signals the end of the public world and the beginning of the private one. You are alone, but not quite alone. From the shadows, near the window, Philip steps forward. He has also shed the heavy robes of state, the velvet and the ermine. He wears a simple tunic of white wool, unadorned. He looks younger in the candlelight, less like a prince of France and more like the boy who showed you his books in the tower. He holds a candle in a silver holder. The flame flickers, casting a warm, dancing light on his face, softening the angles, highlighting the kindness in his eyes. The room is quiet. He says softly. His voice is low, barely disturbing the air. Yes. You reply. It is peaceful. He walks to the hearth. A fire is burning there, low and steady. Logs of apple wood, smelling sweet and fragrant, burn with a gentle, consistent heat. He places the candle on the stone mantel. He turns to you. There is no aggression in his posture. There is no rush. He respects the space between you. He stands with his hands open, a gesture of peace. Are you tired? He asks. A little. You admit it has been a long day, a long journey. Come. He says, sit. He gestures to the bed. It is a massive piece of furniture, a four-poster bed carved from dark walnut wood, polished until it gleams like dark water. It is hung with curtains of deep blue velvet, heavy and plush, meant to shut out the world. You climb up the small wooden steps. The mattress is deep and soft, filled with the finest down feathers. You sink into it. It holds you. It molds to your body. You pull the coverlet up to your waist. It is made of silk, cool to the touch at first, then quickly warming against the linen of your shift. Philip sits on the edge of the bed. He does not touch you. He sits with his hands clasped in his lap, looking at the fire. The firelight reflects in his eyes. In the stories, he says quietly, this is the part where the prince claims his prize. You watch him. You study the curve of his shoulder, the stillness of his hands. Is that what I am, a prize? He turns his head. His grey eyes are serious, thoughtful. No. He says, you are a person. You are a mind. You are the one who reads Aristotle. You are the one who crossed the sea. A small smile touches your lip. The knot of tension in your chest begins to unwind, thread by thread. This is not a conqueror. This is a companion. Shall we talk? He suggests. The night is long, and we have a lifetime to know each other. There is no need to rush. I would like that. You whisper. And so, the wedding night becomes a night of words, not the formal, stilted words of the court, rehearsed and polished, but the soft, wandering words of two souls finding each other in the dark. He asks you about England. He asks you about the rain in the north. He asks you about the smell of the sea. You tell him about the garden at home, about the rosemary bushes that grow by the wall, about the way the fog rolls in over the hills in November. He listens. He really listens. You can tell by the way he watches your face, by the way he nods slowly in the firelight. He tells you about his childhood, about growing up in this vast, echoing palace where the shadows seem to have eyes, about his love for the stars and how he learned to name them. Have you seen the constellation of the Swan, he asks. No. You say, show me. He gets up and goes to the window. He pulls back the heavy velvet curtain. A strip of moonlight falls across the floor, silver and cold. Cutting through the warm candlelight, you get out of bed and stand beside him. The stone floor is cool under your bare feet. You look out. The sky over Paris is clear and black, scattered with a million diamonds. The air coming from the window is fresh and cool. There, he points. Do you see the cross shape flying down the Milky Way? You follow his finger. You strain your eyes against the dark, and then you see it. Yes, that is Cygnus. He says, the Swan. He is flying south for the winter. He is always flying, but he never leaves the sky. He is faithful to his path. You stand there, shoulder to shoulder, looking up at the vastness of the universe. The city below is asleep. The river Seine is a black ribbon reflecting the stars. Moving silently to the sea, you feel a profound sense of smallness, but it is a comforting smallness. You are just two specks of dust in a giant galaxy, but you are specks of dust that have found each other. The silence of the stars seems to wrap around the castle, holding it in a bowl of night. You shiver slightly in the cool air. Philip notices. He moves closer, blocking the draught from the window with his body. You are cold. He says, a little. Let us go back to the warmth. You return to the bed. You climb back under the covers, pulling them up to your chin. This time, Philip climbs in on the other side. There is a space between you, a respectful distance. He lies on his back, his hands behind his head, staring up at the canopy of the bed. The blue velvet above looks like a dark sky without stars. Tell me a story. He says, a story from your land. Tell me what the nurses tell the children in England. You remember the stories Alice used to tell you when the storms blew against the stone walls. Stories of knights and magic, of forests and fairies. You choose a quiet one. A story about a girl who turned into a tree to escape the wind. You speak softly. Your voice is a murmur in the quiet room, a gentle stream of sound. Once upon a time, you begin in a forest where the trees were older than stone. As you speak, you feel your body relaxing completely. The mattress supports every curve of your spine. The pillow cradles your head like a cloud. The warmth of the fire reaches across the room to touch your face. The sound of your own voice is hypnotic. It rises and falls, a gentle cadence. Philippe listens. His breathing slows. He closes his eyes. You watch his face in the firelight. The lines of tension around his mouth smooth out. He looks peaceful. He looks safe. You finish the story. And so she slept in the wood, safe forever. Her roots went deep, and her branches held the sky. Silence returns to the room, but it is not an empty silence. It is a filled silence. It is a shared silence. It is the silence of understanding. That is a good story. Philip whispers. His voice is thick with sleep, safe forever. He reaches out his hand across the space between you, palm up, open. You look at it. It is an invitation. It is a bridge. You slide your hand across the smooth sheet. You place your hand in his fingers close around yours. His skin is warm. His grip is gentle, barely there. It is not a grip of possession. It is a grip of connection, an anchor in the dark. You lie there, hunt in hunt. You feel the pulse in his wrist. Thump, 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 thump. It beats in time with your own. You realize that the fear is gone. The loneliness is gone. You are in a foreign land, in a strange bed. But you are not alone. You have a witness. The fire burns down. The logs settle with a soft crash of sparks. The light in the room dims to a deep, glowing red. The shadows lengthen and merge, wrapping the room in a blanket of darkness. The only light now comes from the embers, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. You close your eyes. You feel the heavy eyelids sliding down, the weight of the day, the weight of the journey, the weight of the wedding. It all presses you down into the mattress. You are sinking into the softness, sinking into the safety. You listen to Philip's breathing. In, out, in, out. It is a steady rhythm, like the tide. It lulls you. It rocks you. You think about the library upstairs. You think about the books waiting for you, their pages, smelling of dust and time. You think about the garden where you will walk tomorrow, the roses opening their petals to the sun. You think about the stars wheeling overhead, the swan flying forever down the river of the night. Your thoughts begin to fragment. They turn into images. A blue book, a silver coin, a green leaf, a warm hand. You are drifting on the river of sleep. The current is gentle. It carries you away from the shore of waking. Good night, Philip. You whisper. The words are barely a breath. Good night, he murmurs back. The last thing you feel is the warmth of his hand holding yours. The last thing you hear is the soft pop of the fire. The last thing you know is peace. You sleep. The castle sleeps. The city sleeps. The world turns slowly in the dark. Held in the hands of the stars, the seasons turn. The wheel of the year spins slowly, grinding the days into months, the months into memories. Spring blooms into the heavy, lush heat of summer. The gardens of the palace overflow with roses white, red, pink, filling the air with a scent so thick it feels like velvet. Bees drone lazily in the heat, drunk on nectar. Then summer fades into the golden melancholy of autumn. The leaves on the plane trees along the river turn brown and gold, drifting down to cover the cobblestones in a rustling carpet. The air grows crisp. The light grows slanting and nostalgic. And with the turning of the seasons, you change too. The girl who arrived in the carriage, frightened and small, is gone. In her place is a woman who carries a new life. The child grows within you. A secret universe expanding day by day. You move slower now. Your center of gravity has shifted. You are tethered to the earth in a new way. You are confined now to your chambers. It is the custom, the lying in. The world outside is shut away. The windows are draped with heavy tapestries to keep out the light and the noise of the city. The floor is covered in fresh herbs, lavender, chamomile, lemon balm, meadowsweet, that release their scent every time a footstep crushes them. The room smells of a garden brought indoors. It is a womb within a womb. You spend your days in a state of suspended time. You sit by the fire, your hands resting on the swell of your belly. You feel the movement of the child, a flutter like a bird's wing, a kick, a slow turn. It is a strange, miraculous sensation. Life speaking to life. You are never alone, even when the room is empty. You talk to the child in your mind. You tell him about the snow in England. You tell him about the books in the tower. Philip visits you every evening. He sits by your chair. He reads to you. His voice has become the soundtrack of your life. He reads poetry. He reads history. He reads about the movement of the planets and the nature of the soul. He translates the Latin into French, his voice rising and falling like a chant. The child can hear you. You tell him one night, watching the firelight play on his face. He smiles. He leans forward and speaks to your belly. He recites a line from Virgil in Latin. Audaces fortuna juvat. Asterisk, fortune favors the bold. You laugh softly. Read him something gentler. You say, read him about the stars. The labor begins on a night of rain. A soft, steady autumn rain that drums against the stone walls and washes the roof tiles clean. Patter, patter, patter. It is not a time of panic. It is a time of focus. The midwives arrive. They are calm, capable women with strong hands and soft voices. They bustle around the room, preparing warm water, clean linens, heated oil. They speak in low, reassuring tones. The pain comes in waves, like the sea you crossed to get here. It rises, crests, and falls away. You ride the waves. You breathe through them. You remember the lessons of the garden. You bend, but you do not break. You surrender to the power of your own body. It knows what to do. It is older than you. It has a wisdom of its own, passed down from mother to daughter since the beginning of time. Lady Isabel is there. She holds your hand. She wipes your brow with a cloth dipped in rose water. Breathe. She whispers, you are strong. You are iron wrapped in velvet. Philip waits outside the door. He cannot come in. It is not the custom, but you can feel his presence. You can feel him pacing in the corridor. His footsteps, marking time. Step, turn, step, turn. You know he is praying. You know he is waiting. You are connected by an invisible thread. And then the moment comes, the final wave, the push of life into the world. A cry rings out, thin and high and strong. It cuts through the sound of the rain. It is the sound of a new soul entering the story. It is a boy. The midwife says, her voice is filled with triumph. A healthy boy, an heir. Relief washes over you, warmer than the water, heavier than the blankets. You sink back into the pillows. Your body feels light, empty, floating. They clean the child. They wrap him in swaddling bands of white linen. They bring him to you. You look at him. His face is red and crumpled. His eyes are squeezed shut against the light. His tiny hands are balled into fists. He smells of milk and new skin. You touch his cheek with your finger. It is incredibly soft. You kiss his forehead. Henley, you whisper, your name's Henri. He settles against you. He stops crying. He listens to your heartbeat. It is the sound he knows best. It is the drumbeat of his world. The door opens. Philip enters. He walks to the bed. He looks down at his son. His face is filled with wonder. He reaches out a finger. The baby's hand opens and closes around it. A perfect, tiny grip. He is. Settle yourself into a comfortable position now. There is no need to close your eyes just yet. Instead, simply let your gaze soften. Let the tension in your jaw and shoulders loosen, dropping away like a heavy cloak you no longer need to wear. Watch the shadows lengthen on the screen, letting the visuals guide you into a state of quiet focus. The noise of the world outside is fading, retreating into a distant hum, until there is nothing left but the rhythm of your own breathing and the sound of my voice. Tonight, we are traveling back 700 years to a time of stone and silence. We are drifting into the life of a medieval princess, but not the fairy tale you might expect. This is a story of quiet endurance, of the deep, biting cold of a castle winter, and the heavy, comforting weight of duty. It is a world where time moves at the speed of a burning candle. Before we drift further into the slow current of the past, if you find a sense of peace in this sanctuary we are building, please gently leave a like and subscribe to the channel, so that we may meet again in the historical dreams that lie ahead. And if you wish, whisper in the comments where you are drifting off from tonight. It is comforting to know we are drifting together. Now, imagine that the air around you is cooling. It is not an uncomfortable cold, but a crisp, clean chill that sharpens the senses and makes the warmth of your bed feel even more precious. You are waking up, but you are not in your own room. You are lying in a vast chamber made of grey stone, situated deep in the heart of a castle in 13th century England. It is early morning, the hour before dawn, the time the monks call matins. The room is steeped in a thick, velvety darkness, a darkness so profound that it feels like a physical presence, wrapping around the 4 heavy wooden posts of your bed. You are lying under a mountain of furs. There are heavy sheepskins, smelling faintly of lanolin and earth. There are wool blankets, woven tight and thick to keep out the drafts that snake through the castle walls. And on top, a coverlet of deep crimson velvet, lined with rabbit fur, heavy and soft. The sheer weight of the bedding presses down on you, anchoring you to the mattress. It is a feeling of immense security, of being buried in warmth while the world outside freezes. The mattress beneath you is not soft foam, but a thick linen sack filled with fresh straw and dried lavender flowers. If you move even slightly, the straw rustles beneath you. A dry, whispering sound that speaks of the summer fields and the harvest long past. The air in the room is freezing. You can feel it nipping at the tip of your nose, brushing against your cheeks like a cold feather. It is a damp, stone-cold air that has seeped through the 10-foot thick walls over centuries. It smells of old granite, of the soot from the fireplace, and the faint, musky scent of beeswax candles that have burned down to nothing It is the breath of the castle itself, slow, austere, and patient. Listen closely. The room is not entirely silent. From the far corner, you hear a sound. A scritch, scratch, click. It is the sound of the fire being tended. Your lady in waiting. Alice is awake. She moves like a shadow in the gloom, her wool dress rustling softly against the rushes on the floor. You cannot see her clearly, only the silhouette of her figure against the faint, dying orange glow of the embers from the night before. She is kneeling by the hearth, her breath visible in the cold air. She blows gently on the coals. Whoosh, whoosh. The sound is soft, rhythmic, like the breathing of the room. She adds a log of dry oak, seasoned for 3 years. You hear the wood settle onto the grate with a dull, heavy thud. Then the crackle begins. Snop, pop, hiss. The fire begins to catch, sending small sparks drifting up the dark chimney like golden fireflies. The light in the room changes. It shifts from absolute black to a flickering, dancing amber. The shadows on the rough stone walls begin to move, stretching and shrinking in time with the rising flames. You watch the light play across the heavy tapestries that hang from the ceiling to the floor. They are woven with scenes of forests and hunts, green leaves and brown stags. And in the firelight, the trees seem to sway. The animals seem to breathe. The tapestries are not just decoration, they are insulation, a second skin for the cold stone walls, trapping a thin layer of air to keep the chamber bearable. Alice stands up, dusting the ash from her hands. She approaches your bed. Her footsteps are muffled by the rushes, dried reeds and fragrant herbs like meadowsweet and rosemary, scattered across the stone floor to provide warmth.